All right. So maybe start with just some information about this particular standard. So we are thinking about biology 2.5. It is an external that works for credit. This one here is thinking about a study of change and the relationship between genetics, the physical traits, and the environment. So change is just kind of trying to think about kind of the big picture idea. We're seeing how things develop over time, and the relationship to the other kind of key ideas that we're thinking about with this topic. Relationships, we're basically thinking about how are these things kind of linked together. So that's what we're thinking about in the big picture scene. We're thinking about specifically the genetics, which is looking at the DNA. We're going to be thinking about the physical traits, which is basically what we see being presented, and then the environment as well. There are three main questions for this external. You'll get a question on genetic variation. This tends to be more of the kind of cellular molecular idea. We'll get a question on Punnett square, which you guys hopefully did last year in time. We're going to expand on that and start looking at bigger Punnett square. And the last thing is population genetics. So we're thinking about big picture with the environment and how basically that can collect for certain factors. So those are the three kind of main questions. The thing about biology is that it's really hard to kind of isolate it into sections and teach it. You're going to have to learn quite a bit of information before we can tackle any NCA questions. So do kind of keep that in mind when we're thinking about this topic. To start us off, I want us to do an activity that I call the Buzzy McDonald. Just a silly thing, and that's in your book. And you'll notice in your little book that on this page here, you have an outline of a little bug. And I want you guys to make some decisions about this bug. So I want you to decide, does your bug have big eyes or small eyes? Does your bug have antenna or no antenna? Does your bug have large wings or small wings? Does your bug glow in the dark? And does your bug have a stinger or not? So you can circle and then you can draw in the characteristics. I'm having you color in your Buzzy McDonald. It's called Buzzy McDonald because this new species was discovered in McDonald's and it makes a lot of buzzy noises. So what your Buzzy McDonald looks like. If you finish early, you can do some coloring. I have color pencils if you guys want to go to the Loan Shark and grab some. But design the Buzzy McDonald. If you want to name it this. There's some bad news about our Buzzy McDonald. There has been a natural disaster. Oh no. Our Buzzy McDonalds are in danger now. So let's see if your Buzzy McDonald can survive the natural disaster that we have. So everybody needs to stand up. Yeah. We're gonna represent the Buzzy McDonald. There. Perfect. Okay. So, if your Buzzy McDonald dies, I need you to sit down to represent them. Okay. So the first thing that has endangered your Buzzy McDonald is the eyes. So if your Buzzy McDonald has small eyes, it dies because it can't see the predator coming. So you have big eyes, you stand it. Ooh, that's not like a lot of the people. All right. Next one. If your Buzzy McDonald doesn't have antenna, it dies because it doesn't sense the environment. Congratulations, a little bit surprised. You're like, yes, big eyes, antenna, we're good. All right, next thing. If your Buzzy McDonald has small wings, it dies because it can't fly well and it gets caught by cats. So you have big wings, cats. Oh! Oh, my sister's dead. We have two more. All right. Next one. If your Buzzy McDonald glows in the dark, it dies because the predators can hunt it at night. Nope. All right, let's see if it survives the last round. All right, if your Buzzy McDonald doesn't have a stinger, it dies because it cannot defend itself. Right, who's still standing? We have 3 left out of a class of like what, 15 or so? So the people that are standing, you guys get your little stickers so you're lucky to survive. And let's talk about how this relates into this topic. We have about 5 minutes. Give you a little bit of talking to this. So the reason I do this activity is because I want to be able to talk about this idea of variation. When we talk about variation, we're talking about differences between individuals in a species. So with our Buzzy McDonald, you guys obviously all have the same little buzz. When it comes to this variation, some of this variation is inheritable. So inheritance just means that it's in our genetics, it's in our DNA, and we can pass it on to our offspring. That's why you kind of look like your family members because you have similar genetics. Non-inheritable are things that are the result of physical change and cannot be passed down, like any injury. So, for example, I have 2 images on the board. We have Nick Fury, and he has obviously an eye patch and he lost his eye. Now, his offspring won't inherit that lost eye because this is a non-inheritable trait. He got this afterwards and has nothing to do with his genetics. So that cannot be passed down. When we look at Emma Stone here, she's actually a natural blonde, and she dyes her hair red because that makes it more distinguishable. But when it comes to what she can pass down to her offspring, I think she's actually had a kid, hasn't she? I can't remember. I think she's had a kid. So with her offspring, they're going to get her inheritable trait, so they will have the blonde hair. They won't be able to inherit the red hair because that is non-inheritable. That's a physical change she's made out. So that's the thing when I think about variation. The other thing about variation is that it can be continuous or discontinuous. So if something is discontinuous, it means it has distinct categories. So say, for example, eye color or whether or not you can roll your tongue. So you either can or can't roll your tongue. Continuous variations are traits that have a complete range. So they basically mean there's extreme ends, and you can be anywhere on that end. A good example of that is height and skin color. So there's lots of variations on that, and there's no set category. So there's 2 types of variation that we're then talking about. All right, let's check the time. We have only a couple minutes left, and I want to see how many notes we have. We might be able to get through it. Actually, we might do this as our do now for tomorrow. I think I'll stop here. Are there any questions so far about that? No? All right. So what I want you to do, we're going to take our biology book. Because I would like, ideally, for these and the back of class to be glued into a biology book. If you don't have a biology book, that's fine. You can either grab one from my drawer or you can grab it from a clear pocket. Same thing with the booklet. You can either hold on to them yourself or I'm going to collect them up. If you want to leave your booklets here, you can leave them in this blue box here with the level 2 bio. If you want to leave your bathroom passes or your lolly charts, you just put them on my desk over here and I can file them for you. Cool. All right, go ahead and pick up and clean up.